Oh my goodness. I just talked all that time and I was on mute. Thank goodness I'm the only one here, huh? Oh goodness. Okay. I'll be right back. Okay, this is hilarious. I've been talking for 21 minutes on mute, you guys. Now, see, if I had somebody here with me, they could have told me they couldn't hear me, but that's okay, you guys. I love you anyway, and I'm really just going to start over now because you probably couldn't read lips. So I'm just going to have to tell everybody to fast forward to like 2:21 or 21 minutes into the recording. Wow. So my name is Catherine Clement, and um, God told me to do this. You know, I was an RN for 20 years, and I've worked not only in the Western paradigm, but also in the Eastern paradigm, more integrative medicines with herbs and homeopathics and different energy healing modalities, different body work modalities that I'm familiar with. I may not be licensed in them, but I'm familiar with many. And I have a condition, a nerve pain condition. And what really prompted this was we had another lady that has this condition commit suicide, and we've had numerous people with this condition commit suicide because it is so excruciatingly painful, and they don't talk about it in medical school, so it gets undiagnosed, misdiagnosed. Oftentimes people are just told that they're crazy or they're nuts, and even the medical treatments that they have don't work. IV medications don't work for the pain, especially if the nerves are completely entrapped. So it just really hurt my heart yesterday to hear that we had lost another PN sister, and it's pudendal neuralgia. And I thought maybe if I just have a place where once a week people can come and talk about things and get ideas on, share ideas on what's helped them with their conditions. I understand that people will have different conditions. This is also going to be a place for practitioners to come and share their wisdom. And if they have products, I personally, I'm not in a company that pushes nutritional products or anything. So, but if other people, have products that they have experienced them helping people, then I want people to feel welcome to come here and share those things with us. And let's try to put all of our wisdom together to really help each other so that nobody has to take their own life. I understand, excuse me, how I've been there. I have been where that woman was. And but for the grace of God, I would not be here speaking to you today. And it's really, when you have pain so severe that IV medication doesn't help and doctors just look at you and say, I can't help you. It's a it's a lonely, frustrating place, especially if your family or your friends actually listen to that doctor, and if the doctor says, well, there's no way they can be in that much pain, and they believe them instead of you. It's very isolating and lonely, and it's really difficult for people to understand a level of pain so severe that even IV medications don't help. Most people have never experienced that kind of pain. And so I really wanted to just put a Zoom together. It's nothing fancy. As you can see, I was on mute for the first 21 minutes. But that's okay, because the show goes on. I'm glad I realized it without going through the whole thing. Oh, goodness. But, as an RN, I just want to help people, and I'm unable to work as an RN for the last 10 years. I had an accident. I fell off my horse and broke the sacrum and coccyx and trapped the pudendal nerves. They were completely entrapped for 5 years, and so I have been in that place of desperation where no one was listening to me. But it just truly breaks my heart um, that we keep losing people. And I am also an art activist. I'm in something called Project Angel, and we are trying to raise awareness for some of these conditions that, people are killing themselves over, yet they aren't even teaching them in medical school. So we're trying to get some things, some of the, you know, um, trying to get them to include some more of these conditions so that people aren't dismissed by their doctors because they've never heard of it. I understand that doctors can't know everything, they can't. I mean, I was a nurse for 20 years. I don't know about every condition. Nobody can hold all that knowledge, but that's why it's important for those of us who are dealing with health issues to come together, for practitioners to come together, because you may be holding someone's miracle, or someone that's going to be on this Zoom may be holding your miracle. So we need to come together and share with each other things that have helped us. Obviously, not everything is going to help everyone. It's different things will help different people. I've seen people just heal miraculously with energy work. And I know that God works through doctors sometimes, through surgeries. If it hadn't been for the internet and for me being able to reach out and connect to other people and do research, and I actually self-diagnosed myself. I figured out what I had, and then I found a doctor that worked with those sorts of patients. And after 5 years of suicidal pain, I was able to find a doctor, one of 6 in the United States, that could help me. And he did a surgery, and it got me out of that suicidal pain. I'm going to hush here for just a minute. I think people are trying to get on, and the link's not working. So let me check over here on Facebook for a minute. No, maybe not. All right, I just didn't want anybody being left out. Let me check right here. Guess I wasn't clear enough on when it was. So good. Maybe somebody will join me over here. It's okay. I'll just keep talking. So I want this to be a place where people can feel comfortable in sharing what they're experiencing. One of the things that is even sadder about the condition that I have, these nerves affect the genitalia, and so many people are too embarrassed to even discuss it with their doctors. Some women have reported that they haven't even told their husbands, which is incomprehensible to me, because probably the most painful thing in the world would be to have sex. So I can't imagine people, just not, they must just be silently screaming while that's going on, and to be able to hide that from their husbands. I don't know how it's possible. But, I hope that this is a place. I'm an RN, so people can talk about anything. And yet I have to say, this is not, I was an RN. I don't even hold my license anymore because I haven't been able to work for the past 10 years. So everything that you hear on here, you can't take it you have to just use it as an adjunct to your regular medical care, I guess is how I'm going to say that. I don't want anyone if you hear something discussed here, do your own research. And sometimes that's more than just putting in something for Google. Google is great, though. I have to say, I never would have been able to diagnose myself if it wasn't for the internet and being able to connect um, with people that knew what I had, because every doctor, every specialist that I saw didn't know. So I'm really hoping that by gathering here once a week, I know that I'm the only one here today, but hopefully I'll get some more people to join me. And I'd like to bring in some different, maybe some naturopaths and some different practitioners. I know a guy that specializes in pain with neuromuscular therapy and different massage therapists and energy workers. There's tons of modalities. So there may be some weeks where I have a special guest on, or maybe it'll just be where people come on and can just offer what they have in the moment. It's not going to be a real strict thing going on. So just a place to gather and help one another. And it's amazing how just knowing that somebody out there understands what you're going through, or somebody maybe has been through something even worse, it's amazing how it can give you more perspective. I can't speak enough to the mindset work that has to happen to deal with some of these chronic illnesses, because it's very easy to get focused on the wrong things. And I swear you will just find that your body will just keep breaking down. Like I was originally primarily in bed because of the suicidal pain, but then after my surgery, I'm the body still has pain. I'm not, I'm back to loving life again, thank God. But it's because I have a whole toolbox of things that I use. I still get into excruciating pain, but I have a whole toolbox of things that I can go to that help me distract my mind from the pain. And so I hope that by coming here weekly, we can share these things in our toolboxes with each other, because we have a lot of knowledge amongst us, but we're all in our little areas. So I hope we can all come together once a week and really share new and exciting things. The lady that committed suicide earlier this week, which is one of the things that really spawned me to do this, the condition, she had this suicidal pain, obviously, but I just found out probably a week ago about a procedure being done in Atlanta, Georgia by a doctor who is freezing the nerves. It's called cryoablation, and he's freezing the nerves. And so far, it has not affected the motor or autonomic function of these nerves, because they're sensory, motor, autonomic. But it is taking the pain away. So I don't know if she ever heard about this procedure, but maybe if she had heard of it, she wouldn't have taken her life, So I'm really passionate about wanting to share this information. And someone's trying to get in here. Oh, she's at work. It's okay, honey. It's all right. I love you, Paris Stu. Paris Stu's at work, so she can't get on, but she can watch it later. And you have to just fast forward to 21 minutes in when I come off of mute. Oh, goodness. Well, that's one of the things that I guess having this condition for the last 10 years has really taught me, is how important laughter is, and just how not to take things so damn seriously. You can really, I know some of us are just in the worst place that we ever think we could be, but I can assure you there are people in worse places, and we really need to find a sense of gratitude for what we do have, even if we just have one brief moment without pain for the day, one moment when we were able to distract ourselves into something else and not feel the pain. we need to celebrate that. We need to focus on the good stuff instead of the bad stuff. It's like in a relationship, in a romantic relationship. If you only focus on everything that's wrong, or everything that you don't like, or everything that person doesn't fix for you, you're going to have a horrible relationship, because it's a vibration. You're going to keep seeing all the bad things if that's what you choose to look at. And if you choose to look at all the good things that person does, and all the amazing and wonderful things that they are, regardless of those other things, then you're going to have a beautiful relationship. And it's the same thing with your body. You have to be so grateful to your body, even if it is completely messed up. Because I'm telling you, the body is an amazing thing. I mean, God created it. It's just amazing. I have seen miracles happen in people's bodies. And just the fact, just what it does every moment of every day. Think about it. If you had to tell your heart to beat, or if you had to tell yourself to breathe, or if you had to tell every trillion of your cells what to do. I mean, our bodies are so amazing. They're like these computers that run, and yeah, they get glitches, they get some cookies you got to delete, they get some, you got to detox yourself, and you got to get rid of these non-serving beliefs in your head. You got to quit focusing on everything you can't do and be grateful for what you can. Some days, if I can just get up and, get the dishes done or something, that's a celebration. If that's all I can do, that's a celebration. If I can make it to the grocery store. I was having my groceries delivered for a while there, and what a wonderful service that is if you need it. But now I'm able to go to the grocery store myself. And yeah, I'm in a heck of a lot of pain by the time I get home, but I can do it, and I keep pushing myself to make my body stronger, because being in bed so much really, affects your muscles, and it really affects your gut. That's why one of the things I'll be teaching on this is, some exercises that you can do in bed to keep your blood flowing, keep your lymph system. You basically get blocked on both ends when you have no movement. So, even if, like I said, if you're I think I said while I was muted before, if you're a quadriplegic, obviously you can't move your limbs, but you have to have someone else move them. But that's so important to have somebody move them and keep that flow going in your body, because toxins are acidic, and the more acidic your body is, the more pain you're going to feel, the less nutrients you're going to absorb. The less, on a cellular level, your cells are just going to be in these highly polluted environments, and they just cannot function properly. You can't make good new cells that way. So learning lifestyle changes, you can't just expect to take a pill and have it fix you. I know everybody wants that quick fix, right? Everybody wants it. But all it does, pharmaceuticals, there are some that are absolutely necessary, but the majority of them are only more acid that you're putting into your body. Usually there are lifestyle changes that have to happen. When your body starts showing these symptoms, it's not saying, hey, go get a pill and make this go away. It's saying, hey, look at how you're living and make some lifestyle changes so that I can be healthy. Work with your body, give it the nutrition that it needs. Now, nutrition is a huge subject, and I do have a friend who's a nutritionist, so I hope he'll come on here and share some of his wisdom with us. People have a lot of ideas about nutrition and diet, and it's really hard to find the truth there, because the majority of our teaching about nutrition, both just in, elementary school, but all the way up through medical school, is completely run by the Dairy Association, the Meat Association. So they're going to tell us that you have to have this amount of meat protein, and you have to have, this amount of milk to be healthy, to get your calcium. They tell you a lot of things so that they can sell products. That's the bottom line. They are selling their product to you, and they're telling you how wonderful it is for you. But it's not all truth. And many people who work with really, 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 really sick people find that raw fruits and vegetables juicing is what really gives the body what it needs to heal. So I'm sure that we will have to agree to disagree, many of us. I myself am vegan. A lot of people don't understand that, but I feel really good about that. My heart feels good that I'm not involved in any of the animal cruelty out there. There's horrendous things being done in that industry, and if you're a meat eater and you're okay with it, that's you. I'm not going to tell you how to eat. I just know that I even was completely fruitarian for a while, because really that's the only way to eat where you aren't killing something. Because a fruit tree, an apple tree gives its apples, but it doesn't kill it when you take the apple. It gives it freely. Oh, here comes Dari. Yay. Hello, Dari. She's still coming on. So anyway, I'm sure we will, have people have to agree to disagree on some of these nutrition subjects. But I would like to hear all of it. I think people need to hear what works for people and what doesn't work for people. And sometimes that helps you figure it out for yourself. Sometimes just having somebody else to throw an idea at, you can get a completely different perspective than what you had before. And sometimes you find the miracles. Like this past week, I found this cryoablation. I had no idea it was out there, and many people who are suffering didn't know it was out there either. So, hi, Dari.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, so good to see you.
Good to see you too, honey.
Yeah.
So we're just hanging out. It was actually hilarious because I did the first 21 minutes by myself on mute. So about 21 minutes in, I realized I was on mute. I knew I was by myself, but that's okay. It'll take a little while to get some people coming to this, but I didn't realize I was muted. So that's all right, though. The show goes on,
Yeah. Are you able to see me?
I see something. I don't see you.
That's okay. I don't want to be seen, actually.
Yeah, and you can turn your video off at the bottom left-hand corner too. If you just don't want your screen to show it all, you can stop the video. There you go.
Okay.
So how are you doing today?
I'm doing really well.
Good.
How about you?
Good. I'm just, I started this because I heard about Judith taking her life, and it just bothers me that people are feeling so isolated. And I don't know if, having more places just to come and talk and have different people and different practitioners bringing in different ideas on things to help, hopefully that'll help somebody out there.
Now, this is a wonderful thing that you're doing. I am so happy that you're doing this.
Thank you.
That is so needed. Yeah.
Well, we have this amazing technology now.
Yeah.
Why not put it to use? I know so many different practitioners of different modalities, or people that have products that are amazing, or people that know about different surgeons or procedures, but we're also isolated. I just really wanted some place where everybody would come and pitch in what they know and share with people.
This is neat. Now, how often are you planning on doing this?
Once a week on Tuesdays, the same time every
Oh,
week.
cool. So it'll be 4 Eastern time.
4 Eastern.
Yeah. Now, where are you? I have no idea.
I'm in Colorado.
Oh,
hmm
so is there anyone else joining in? I don't want to jeopardize,
It's just an open forum, so there's actually 50 people could join us, and
Okay.
and I'm not going to have any sort of. I may invite people on, like I know some naturopaths and different. A guy that specializes in neuromuscular body work for pain.
Mhm.
That he gets really good results with some people, and different things work for different people. So I'm hoping to coax some people on to share what they know with us, and also help them in their business.
Yeah, yeah.
So many
Now,
of us need more business, and we want to help people, and we have great information, but nobody knows about us. So
no, I know. So you are a life coach?
no, not really. I was just an RN for 20 years, so I'm used to working with people and helping educate them. And I always, I not only worked in Western medicine, but I worked with homeopathics and herbs
Yeah.
and different energetic healing modalities and things. So I have a lot of tools in the toolbox to pull from.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
No, and I love all your postings.
Oh,
I really that's I am of the mindset that when you're dealing with neuralgia, there's not one magic pill that could take care of it
mhm.
at once. You really have to do an interdisciplinary approach, and most of it is alternative healing. And I believe in that a lot more than the medical model.
Yeah.
Uh, I am so sorry. My phone is ringing.
Oh, it's okay.
No,
And if
I'll
you
call
need
them
to
back.
mute, if you need to take a call, you can mute down there right next to where you stopped your video
Yeah,
too.
I saw that. Um, I will call them back. That's no big deal. Um, I wanted to tell you that that we have been doing the PNA and been doing the support group. I think you may have participated at some point.
Mhm.
And we had Fuse, but it was kind of a hit and miss when it comes to technology.
Mhm.
So we had to pause from that, and we're really seeking another forum where we can do the spiritual psychotherapy that we had been doing.
Mhm.
We've been doing it for about 3 years,
Mhm.
once a month. But really, well, as a nonprofit, of course, we don't have the resources to pay the big bucks for the video conferencing.
Mhm.
So we're searching for something new because Fuse was bought out by a telecommunications company.
Oh,
Yeah, and now we don't know. It seems like participants then would have to pay a fee, and I don't know, if people would be willing to join if that's the case.
yeah.
Well, so we're looking at something different. And,
Well, Zoom, this is a really nice platform. Now, there is a free version of it, and it has some restrictions. I'm not sure what restrictions it has. I use this platform for my business and my healing work, and so to me, it's worth the $15 a month to have some of the things that it lets me have.
yeah.
But
How many people can you have on video at the same time?
only 50 for the $15 a month. To do
50
more than that, it's more than that a month.
on video?
On video, you could have 50 people on
Hmm.
video at once.
And I like the quality of it. So this is one of the benefits of doing this.
hmm
Um,
And it's really easy, and they have great videos that walk you through how to do everything on it. It's a lovely platform for telemedicine, if you want to call it that.
yeah.
Yeah, because you can see it's just so much better when you can see somebody. There's a bit of a learning curve to get over for some people to let them learn how to use their webcam or something, but they have videos that walk people through most all of it. So it's really It's
Yeah,
good.
this is wonderful. And see, the what we do is different in that we don't really focus on the pain and treatment options and that type of thing. It's more, it is spiritual psychotherapy.
Hmm.
When people come together, and it is a lot, of course, more emotional in that sense. You have to see the people's faces,
Hmm.
because there's a lot that you can tell someone may not be willing to share, but you can read in their faces that
Yeah.
they're just about to explode. So that would be the value of that. Thank you for allowing me to join you.
Oh, I'm just thrilled because people, you're right. We can hide a lot behind our smiles,
Oh,
and
yeah.
sometimes we have to, but there's a time when you really need to, let
Yeah.
some of that go. And there are ways to set this up. Now, this one, I do this for the public. So this one's open and it is being recorded. Um,
Mhm.
but if you wanted to do one where only, where it was private and people
Yeah.
could just jump in, there's a way to do it that way too, or
Yeah.
where people have to have a password to get in or whatever. So,
Yeah, that's what we're looking for, because of course it becomes a lot more confidential when you're doing psychotherapy,
mhm.
and people need to be feel free to share their
Yeah.
emotions at the time. But anyway, moving away from that, I don't know if you saw my postings. I went to the Alliance for Chronic Pain retreat this weekend.
I
Um,
saw I saw something.
mhm. It really was phenomenal. Um, and I'm pretty sure that see Dr. Deborah Cody. I don't know if you've heard of her. Um, she's retired officially now, so she may be willing to participate in your forum and be a guest speaker, and maybe Nancy Fish. I
That
ended
would be
up,
wonderful.
yeah, I ended up co-facilitating with Nancy. Nancy did the breakout groups for grief and loss and coping skills for pelvic pain. And I am, of course, I don't want to speak, for them, but I'm pretty sure that they would be more than willing
That
uh,
would be
to share
wonderful.
with you. Whenever you want to invite them,
Yeah.
they could probably be very good resources for people.
See, that's what I want to do is provide people with just a plethora of
Mhm.
modalities and services and ideas because you know when doctors, and this because we share the same condition, but people when people go to their doctors and they don't believe them because they don't know what's going on or whatever, and they just get to this place of no hope. And that's how they get to where Judith was yesterday. And I've been there. I've been to that no hope place. But thank God I had the wherewithal to just hold in there and keep waiting and keep trying to make connections. And finally got diagnosed and had the surgery and at least got out of that suicidal pain.
Yeah.
I'm really thrilled about the cryoablation that I just found out about. I will be going to Atlanta to get that.
Yeah.
Um, and,
Now, have you done a lot of research about it? And have
well, I don't know how much, like, I wound up emailing the doctor
uh-huh.
and they did a test. I think there were like 11 people in the research project, and all of them were helped. And
Mhm.
they haven't had to redo anybody. Like it's a repeatable surgery, but they haven't had to repeat it on anyone. And I think then there was another study, I'm not sure how big it was, and only 2 of the people weren't helped with their rectal pain, which sadly I have that as well.
Yeah.
But I guess where he has to go in to do the freezing is below the rectal sensory branch or something. So hopefully, like I'm sending people over there so I hope that enough of us that have rectal pain as well maybe he'll figure out a way where he can actually get to that branch too.
Yeah.
They haven't had any issues of incontinence, which that was my
Yeah.
biggest concern.
Mhm.
I did ask him actually, and maybe he just answered too quickly. I don't know, but I asked him because I have really bad bowel and then anal sphincter and urethral sphincter spasming. And I
Yeah.
asked him if it would help that spasming, and he said, yeah. And
Mhm.
that's huge for me because my bowel is growing things it shouldn't grow because of the lack of oxygen from the spasming and stuff. So, and then I know there are herbs and stuff that I take, and magnesium and things that I take to help with spasming as well. But um, I'm so far, of course, you have to know my history a little bit. When I had my spinal cord surgery, the man who did my spinal cord surgery and got me out of a wheelchair, he had never done it before.
Ouch.
And I let him do it on me. And then when I had my pudendal neuralgia surgery, my bilateral surgery, that doctor had only done that, I think, once, or yeah, I think he'd only done it once before. When I let him, I am so divinely guided. If I am led to something, I know whether I'm supposed to do it or not. There's not a
Yeah.
question.
I believe that, and that's my way of operating too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, where did you have your decompression surgery?
At OU Medical Center in Oklahoma.
Oh,
Hmm.
has it been some time? Well, how long ago?
It's been going on 6 years now.
Yeah. Did it help?
Well, it got me out of that suicidal pain.
Hmm.
I had all 6 branches trapped, and I even had like pieces of bone because I broke bones when I fell and stuff, and I even had shards of bone in the nerves for 5 years while they told me I was making it up.
Oh.
And this doctor, I'd been told I needed to go to France. I'd actually consulted with some of the doctors that were doing it, the bilateral transgluteal surgery. And as an RN, I have been in the OR, so there were certain things, like I looked at the way each one of them did their surgery, like actually how they did it and how they cared for people after the fact. And they told me to go to France because nobody wanted to touch me because I'd already had spinal cord surgery, and they were kind of afraid to mess with me. But I just, God loves me. I don't know how else to say it because, here I was, I lost I lost everything, and they're telling me to go to France is like telling me to go to the moon. There's no way, and that's when I got really, I started looking into physician-assisted suicide because I was at such a hopeless point. And then all of a sudden, I responded to a physical therapist post online or something, and then she said, oh, you should go see this doctor at OU Med. And I'm like, no, there's only like 5 doctors that know anything about this in the United States. She's like, no, I'm telling you, there's 6. And so I went. He was 45 minutes from my home. I mean, here I went from having to go to France to having to get 45 minutes away. And when I went and saw him, he knew immediately. I was in a wheelchair at the time, which of course was the worst thing. No one knew that by sitting in the wheelchair, I was actually making things worse.
Yeah.
But I couldn't walk. I was in too much pain. So, you do what you got to do. But he said, get out of that chair and take a few steps for me and let me see you walk. And the minute he saw me walk, he turned to his assistant and he said, that is what pudendal nerve entrapment looks like. Because he has a lot of people come to him that want surgery, and he tells them, you don't have entrapment, you have neuralgia, and surgery will not fix that. And then they get pissed at him because he won't do surgery on them.
Yeah.
But I respect him for that because if he doesn't feel like he can really benefit somebody, and if he feels like he's going to actually harm somebody, I think it's, big of him to absolutely say no.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people that have gotten messed up by surgeries, and one of the things I liked about his technique was just the way that he did some things and the way he handled it after the fact. I had seen some people getting post-surgical infections, and I was concerned about that. And after reading how they did it, they were leaving the pain pumps in for up to 2 weeks. That's a long time, taking a risk of getting infection. So he only left it in 24 hours. I thought that was,
Yeah.
adequate. I was in so much less pain even right after surgery than I was before surgery, that it was not an issue for me to have him pull it after 24 hours.
Yeah.
Um,
Now, do you mind me asking now, who is this doctor?
his name is Dr. Showberry, SHOB.
Hang on, let me write this down.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people call us asking for resources,
Mm-hmm.
and we're kind of limited as to, the 5 major ones.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, would you mind spelling it again?
It's S as in Sam,
Uh-huh.
HOB as in boy,
Uh-huh.
and I think it's ERI or EIRI or IERI, something like Showberry. It's probably EIRI.
Do you know his first name?
Abbas, ABBAS.
A-B-B-S. That
At
doesn't.
Oklahoma.
He's in Oklahoma City?
Hmm?
Is he in Oklahoma City?
Yeah, he's in Oklahoma City. OU Medical Center.
Oh, you.
Yeah. And he made me go through a year of diagnostics
Yeah.
to make sure, I had to go through 3 nerve blocks and get relief. Now, the way he does his nerve blocks is maybe different from the way other people do. I don't know. Like, he would not let me have any sedation. I had to be completely non-medicated to help him, guide him, even though it was on CT as well.
Yeah.
But I love the man, and he saved my life, literally. I would not be here speaking to you today if it weren't for that man. I honestly believe that.
Yeah.
Because I was done. I had already discussed it with my parents and my children. I mean, we were literally planning my death.
Yeah.
And that's a horrible thing to have to do. Oh, my God.
Oh, I know. I know. I know.
Yeah. But, and he does have a physical therapist there. I live in Colorado now, but I mean, if I lived in Oklahoma, I would go see his therapist because I would trust them. I'm not very trusting of physical therapists.
Mm-hmm. I am there too.
Yeah, because I've had too many of them really. They would have hurt me if I would have done what they told me to do, and they believed that they knew that it was a good thing, and I knew that it was the worst thing. So thank God I had that education. I see that, unfortunately, in a lot of the forums, people are going to, and they're being told to do things that my surgeon told me would make it worse. So
Yeah, and that's people get so desperate in a need to relieve the pain that they would do anything.
Yeah.
And sometimes that anything ends up hurting them more.
Yeah.
I know I've done that too.
And it's not a matter of not wanting to get better. Of course, we all want to get better, but literally, unless you've had this, you just don't understand how uneducated people are about it, health professionals. I mean, I'm really shocked at after having been a nurse for 20 years at how nonchalantly I was thrown to the side by my own profession just because they didn't understand what was going on.
Yeah, that's why I feel it's really up to all of us to help educate them.
Exactly.
And one of the things, it's really one of the primary reasons for having the Pyrenal Neuralgia Association.
Mhm.
There were, it's kind of hard to, try to plan educational activities on a shoestring budget. But we are planning another conference in November. So hopefully, people will send their doctors over there because it is so needed.
Yeah.
I mean, here, I am in Massachusetts, and you know that some of the best known hospitals are in Boston, like the Brigham and Women's, Mass General Hospital. People travel from all over the world to come have treatment here. Yet, when it comes to pyramidal neuralgia, there's this lack of knowledge that goes across the board. Even the best intentioned doctors really don't have the knowledge about it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna try to start there. Try to pull from these doctors that may have an interest in it, but may be going about it the wrong way.
Mhm.
Um, so we'll see how far we can get. But it really takes all of us.
Yeah.
To,
I'm in Project Angel, so I
yeah.
do, help with that. And
Hmm.
matter of fact, I have a piece that I'm kind of in the middle of now that I'm doing for ACOG.
Oh, good. That would be that's a hard one to crack also.
I know. I don't understand it. It's
Yeah.
just,
Well, I mean, I see it because I know how long it takes. It's almost like a catch-22 because we know that they need to change the curriculum. They know they need to change the curriculum. Yet, with population, meaning doctors, you have to have some kind of literature, some kind of research studies, and it has to be, a certain amount that would prove that there's a need for type of curriculum. They will not just change it. So it typically takes years for them. Well, as a nurse, that for them to incorporate anything into their curriculum,
mhm.
it may take years
Yeah.
because they have to have hard proof and hard evidence that this is absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
So I know, and I have two family members who are, going through medical school. And I was hoping that by seeing my case, they would be inspired and they would bring change. But it really, again, having seen the and the way that they teach, I know how difficult that would be.
Yeah.
It is something that you keep chipping one little piece at a time, and then hopefully we'll get to the point where they will actually incorporate it.
Mhm.
But I know realistically that it will probably take a few years.
Yeah.
And here the problem is also that they require to see the research done. Most doctors who are the specialists are not doing the research.
Mhm.
Number one, because they don't have the time. That requires a tremendous amount of money also.
Yeah.
They need to get having a grant approved for research of this type is not easy. And a lot of people, I've talked to Dr. Marvel and Dr. Conway and Hipner and all of these, the
Mhm.
big ones in the field. And it's almost like a stumbling block. They know that the research is necessary, yet they don't have the resources or the time to do it.
Yeah.
It is so frustrating.
Yeah, it is. Well, I think, the medical, we need to address pain somehow. I mean, there's a lot of conditions that people are killing themselves over because of pain. And I certainly don't have the answers now. I can say medical marijuana helps me tremendously. It's one of the
Okay.
reasons I moved to Colorado.
Mhm.
Um, I take one pharmaceutical to knock myself out at night, but
Mhm.
otherwise during the day I just use the marijuana, and it helps. It helps me focus elsewhere, you
Yeah.
know, rather than on the pain. It helps me. It allows me to go to the grocery store instead of being having to get my groceries delivered. I mean, it gives me some more mobility that I didn't have,
Yeah.
and helps me eat. You know, the pain takes your appetite away, and
Uh-huh.
it doesn't help me sleep at all. I guess I'm sort of immune to that aspect of it, but
Yeah. And that is so necessary also,
mhm,
because you know that when you sleep, you regenerate.
yes. I just probably 3 months ago added the pill at night to help me sleep, because I had gone essentially 10 years really without restful sleep, and I was just like, okay, I have to sleep.
Yeah.
I just have to sleep. So, you know, I know if I take that pill at a certain time at night, then, and I shut everything off, you know, and let my mind relax and go into my gratitude. I like to wake up with gratitude and go to bed with gratitude. So,
That's good. I do the same thing.
mhm,
That's fantastic. It makes such a difference.
yeah,
It is just so amazing.
yeah,
I'm grateful for. I know that when you're in deep pain, it is hard to see anything that you're grateful for.
mm,
But sometimes, even I count my blessings because I am at a point where I am a lot more functional
mhm.
than most people, and I have a lot less pain than what I did 2 years ago.
Yay.
Yeah, and so I really, for me, my pain now stays between a 0 and a 2. And
Ooh,
yeah,
thank God.
and
See, miracles happen. That's why I call them,
they, they
miracles happen.
do. They do, and I can tell you part of the reasons I've been going to the Course in Miracles
Mhm.
group. I go once a week, and I started 3 years ago, and that has made a big difference.
Yeah.
Uh, but anyway, going back to what the pain, when you're at a high level of pain, your brain doesn't really think rationally.
No.
It seems like it takes you to a place where you just have odd thoughts. And that's where the suicidal thoughts come in. This is where the worthlessness of your life come in, and all of that. And I think then really meditation and doing, as you say, something that takes you outside of the pain.
Yeah.
Even if you're in pain, because I remember when I was at the height of my pain, I needed a point to get out of the house and talk to someone. I didn't care if it was the neighbor. And we talked about, I don't know, the grass.
Yeah.
It didn't really matter about the weather, but it was a way of breaking the pattern of pain, even for a few minutes.
Yep.
And then I could come back home and curl up in bed, but I was in a better mood.
Mhm.
So yeah. So anyway, I get to a point where if I am in pain, because sometimes I do get myself into a flare.
Mhm.
Like I did back in November, I went back into a flare, and it's very disappointing when you're doing really well
Yeah, it is.
and you hit it again. It's like,
Mhm.
oh God, and I will never get out of
It's
it.
almost worse because, like, you know what it feels like not to have it, and then suddenly it's just like, ah.
Yeah, I know. But
Yeah.
it's almost like you have to take yourself to the point where I said, okay, I have felt better before, so
Mhm.
I know I can get back to that point again.
Exactly.
And it's again going back to attitude. Again, when I was in that flare, I had to make myself that, okay, so I am in a little bit of pain, but look, my fingers are working properly. My fingers don't hurt. My arm doesn't hurt. So I'm grateful for that.
That's
I'm
right.
grateful that I have hair because at some point I did so many hair flocks, I started losing a lot of hair.
Hmm.
And I said I'm grateful that I can see. So you go to the little things. I know I'm preaching to the choir because I know you know about. I just feel grateful for everything now, and it makes a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That pattern interrupt is so important.
Yeah.
And um, and then noticing, and I think this is one of the things I talked about when I was on mute, and I'm, just, but the to notice when to notice what doesn't hurt instead of noticing what hurts. If you can just focus on the positive things instead of on the things that you don't want more of. And what I found even is that when I was saying, well, I'm trying to heal this, or when I was always healing, it seemed like my body kept having more things to heal. So that's why I named this thing Focus on Wellness instead of like Focus on Healing, because you really have to put your focus on the things that are working right, not the things that are working wrong. And sometimes that's easier said than done, obviously. I mean, we have our moments where, as you said, this pain completely takes over your entire mind. When I say to people, I don't know that I certainly could not help people in the manner that I do without the marijuana, because my brain, when my pain levels get too high, I could be talking to somebody and they might as well be speaking Japanese. It's like my brain doesn't even understand what they're saying, and I'm 3 sentences behind trying to calculate what they said, and it's just that having the marijuana really gives me some space between myself and the pain. And I found out about it really sort of accidentally. It was before my surgery. They tried all kinds of medications on me, and of course no medications will work if you have entrapped nerves. You need to get the pressure off the nerve. But they didn't know, so they just kept doping me up, and I didn't go on the oxys because I didn't want to go there. But they had done a lot of gabapentin. I'm sure you're familiar with that drug. And it really affected I was constantly word searching. Like, I couldn't have had a conversation with you today when I was on 3,200 milligrams of that drug a day before. I even accused the IRS of like stealing money out of my checking account. It was really, it was very bizarre. These drugs have powerful effects on your body, much more than you realize, I think.
I know. Yeah, that's why people have this joke going on these Pirello sites about I got a penton brain or a neurontin brain, because it just fogs up your thinking.
Yeah.
You just cannot think properly.
Yeah.
And now let me ask you about the medical marijuana, because there was, I really wish that you had been there. Oh my goodness, at the retreat. But anyway, there was this young gentleman who he really looked like he was in a great deal of pain. And obviously he was very athletic before, and now he's very debilitated.
Mm-hmm.
And I think within this next 2 weeks he's going to try the marijuana. But now, what do you see? What does it do? First of all, do you smoke it? Do you take it in a pill form, or
there are so many ways of taking it now. There are pills, like capsules. There are what they call edibles, which would be brownies or cakes or different candies and things like that. There's even soda pop, drinks. They come in so many different ways. Now, personally, okay, what I'm going to say is, I'll tell you what my marijuana doctor tells me. He says that I should be on a very high CBD strain. There are different components in the marijuana that help different things. And he says I should be on a very high CBD cat, boy, dog, and that I should vaporize it, which is, they have lots of different kinds of vaporizers, but it's much easier on the lungs than smoking. And he said that would help me the best. I find the complete opposite. I find that I do have to smoke, and I have to smoke the highest THC strain that they have. And that's what helps my pain, and that's what keeps my head, the ability for me to have a fluid conversation with thoughts. But my gut is messed up from all the spasming, and so The edibles don't agree with me at all. I can't do the edibles. And people have to be super, super careful with edibles because
Yeah.
they are extremely strong. And you might get a marijuana brownie that's that big, but a dose would be maybe that much, just a bite that big of it
Yeah.
would be an entire dose, and people don't understand that. They overdose themselves. They
Oh.
take an edible, and an edible takes anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half to kick in. So if you're
Oh.
not feeling the effects, then they take some more. And we actually have people sort of overdose. You don't really
Yeah.
overdose on weed, but you
No.
can get pretty you could, some people can have these almost like a panic attack on it, if they
Yeah.
take too much. So it's a huge learning curve. I am completely open. That's another reason that I wanted to do this, because I am completely open to teaching people everything that I know about it and the things that I've experimented with. I moved here about 5 years ago now, so I've been working with it and helping people with it as well. There are elixirs that are wonderful. There's an elixir that I use. It's pure hemp oil, and then
Yeah.
it has just THC in it, and that helps me a lot. But the THC is the component that's supposed to make you really high.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm high. I feel like I can actually think, and I don't know if that's just because of the levels of pain. I was just telling a friend of mine, once I go get this nerve frozen, and if I try to smoke like I do now, I'd probably be completely knocked out because it wouldn't be having to go, how it is, even with pharmaceuticals, when you have really severe pain, you don't get high from it. It just helps the
No.
pain.
Yeah. I know. Well, now, and how often do you do it?
Um, it depends on how active I am. If I've gone and spent the day with my grandson, I might be using it every 15 minutes for a while
Oh, wow.
till I can get enough in my system to
Yeah.
do my breathing exercises and use some of my other tools. And I still have to use ice and stuff like that sometimes. But I do use it. Unfortunately for me, my body tends to eliminate first thing in the morning, which means I wake up with pain and then I go to the bathroom and it gets worse. So I do
Yeah.
start medicating first thing in the morning. And I don't have to medicate as heavily in the morning or during the day. Of course, by evening time, when your body's kind of worn out, the pain gets worse. You probably medicate more in the evening. But there are so many ways to take it, and there are strains and preparations available that do not have the THC in it, so people don't get high from it. They only get the pain relief, and that does work for some people. I know people that CBD works well for, and it
Yeah.
doesn't get them high at all. And they can get it in ways where it's not harmful to the lungs. Right now, I understand I'm kind of harming myself and helping myself at the same time, which is why I was still very open when I heard about the cryoablation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'd be glad to talk to him if you have connection to him, if he's on Facebook, or you can give him, I'll give you my phone number or whatever. And I'll talk, help anybody I can help. I
Yeah,
actually grow it as well, so I do know about that aspect of it too.
About what?
Growing it,
Oh.
because it's very expensive.
Yeah.
When you have a medical, now I don't know how it is in every state, I only know Colorado, but when you have a medical marijuana license in Colorado, you can grow however many plants the doctor says you can grow legally. And
You know what? I find that so ridiculous, really, honestly, because in most European countries, they have had laws where it's been legal. You can have up to 3 plants in even in an apartment for I don't know how long. And I think that it should be across the board, across the United States, where they just legalize it and that's it. At least for medical purposes. Oh, Catherine, you have frozen here. I don't know if you can
you're
hear
still, I can hear you fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes my internet's a little slow because I'm on wireless. Um,
Yeah, mine too. Because it says it's slow, and then you kind of freeze there for a minute.
mhm.
Yeah.
I
But
I I am so passionate about this story because I did work with babies and kids that had hundreds of seizures a day. And
uh-huh.
sometimes just one dose of this oil can stop those seizures. People have no idea how much brain damage those kids are, and adults as well, are receiving when they're going into these seizures, having hundreds a day like that.
Yeah.
And to me, this is a plant from God, just like every other plant. You know, it's our body actually has receptor sites for the cannabinoids inside of this plant, and it's just as, you know, it's as amazing as cat's claw, or, you know, some of these other amazing herbs that we have. I don't understand why it's treated so differently. Well, I do
Yeah.
understand, it's all a money game, but
Yeah, exactly. We
it
just don't
really should be
understand.
legal for everyone. I think it's criminal, personally, that
Mhm.
they keep it away, especially from these kids with seizures. I think it's
Yeah.
criminal. I think they should be able to be brought up on charges for not
Yeah.
allowing them to have something that actually helps, because they gork those kids out on the gabapentin, the drug that I was on that almost put
Oh,
me in a nursing home. That's how I found out about marijuana. I started that story and I didn't finish it. I was on gabapentin and Xanaflax, which is Xanaflax, is that the name of it? Anyway, it's a muscle relaxer specifically for people with spinal cord damage.
yeah.
Uh, and then maybe a sleeping pill or something. This was before my surgery, so I was on a lot of stuff. And I got some kind of a stomach virus or something, and I couldn't keep my pills down, and I went into a detox. I mean, I was literally on the floor, fetal position, fluids coming out every open orifice.
Mm,
Um, and I thought, oh my God, this is what like a heroin addict feels like or something, you
yeah.
know. And I could not. It was horrible. And somebody offered me some marijuana, and within 10 minutes, I literally felt like I was going to die. And within 10 minutes, I was walking around like nothing was going on. And I was like,
That's
holy shit,
fantastic.
this is powerful medicine. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And then when I started studying it and I found out how it was helping the seizures and the cancer and, you know, all of these other conditions, I just became really outspoken, strong proponent for it, because, and I have a Facebook page on it. I'm always circulating petitions and trying to get
Yeah.
people to be more aware, because it's got such a horrible stigma,
Exactly.
and
And
yet
it
it's
should be.
amazing. I mean, it's amazing what it can do.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I am so glad that you're speaking about it. And I really hope that a lot more people, I certainly will write later on something about your meeting so that more can attend. Because I think that a lot of people are so heavily relying on these, what I call stupid medications, that are just robbing their brains of their brain cells. And really, there is an alternative for them.
Yeah.
And I think that they need to be more educated about it.
And there's a lot of alternatives. I mean, there's so
Oh,
many different alternatives that, and I've worked with a lot of them personally, because I also worked for a naturopath, because I had good IV skills, and he was doing vitamin C infusions for cancer and chelation treatments for heavy metals and different things. And he needed somebody that could do IVs. And I worked with premature babies, so I can stick anybody. So he hired me, and we worked well together. But we weren't having success with cancer patients. What his protocol he was using with cancer patients, and so, you know, I'm kind of obstinate sometimes, and I just went into his office and I'm like, look, we just we just can't treat these people like this anymore. I know we're trying to help them, but it's not helping, and we have to find something that really works. And what I found was medical ozone, which most people have never heard of. And that is an amazing modality that does work with cancer, and it also works with like Hep C and AIDS and all of these things. I cured a lady, well, I didn't cure, God cures, but I had a friend, I actually worked dialysis for a while as an RN, and I made friends with this lady because they come in for treatments for 3 and 4 hours a time, 3 times a week. So you get really close to your patients. And she was about my age. She had kids about my age, my kids' ages. And they had used every vessel in her body, like she was on her last thing. And if she didn't get her new, if she didn't get her new transplant, you know, she was just going to die because there was no place else that they could hook her to the treatments. And thank God, you know, she got the transplant. And about that time I was also a traveling nurse, and I went on a mission in Florida, and I was down there for about a year. And when I went back to Indiana, I went to see my friend. The minute her husband opened the door, I smelled the wound. That's how grossly infected she was. She had been infected that whole year. After that transplant. She had a huge deep hole in where they had done the kidney transplant.
Yeah.
And it was infected with MRSA. I don't know if you're familiar with MRSA. Yeah. And also another one called VRE, vancomycin resistant. And she had both of those. And I was so angry. I'm like, don't you have nurses coming out here? And she's like, yeah, but they're doing everything they can do, and it's not going away. And I've been like this for a year, and I was just livid. And I went home, and I got my medical ozone machine, and I took it back to her house, and I taught her how to use it. And it took about 3 months, but that completely filled in. It completely took care of the MRSA and the VRE.
Oh, goodness.
It's a modality that some countries that have socialized medicine use because they can't afford for their people to be sick all the time. It actually works. And they use it in the hospitals. They use it in the OR so they don't get all these, you know, infections. Our hospitals are full of MRSA right now. I won't go to the hospital right now. I would literally, if I cut my leg and had to stitch it, I would stitch it myself before I would go to the ER. And I have the stuff to do it because they're full of MRSA right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Yeah. Now, listen, I'm going to have to go in a few minutes.
Oh, sure. Well, we're way past time anyway.
Yeah, I know.
I'll get you the link.
I really have loved talking to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I hope I can join again.
Please do.
Yeah. Anyway, one of the things one of the reasons why I mentioned Dr. Deborah Cody is because she really is big into integrative medicine.
Yes.
As opposed to I'm telling you, I tried Qigong. I don't know if you've ever tried it.
I'm trained in it, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I came back. I have never tried it before, but she did a session on it very early in the morning before we started the whole meeting again. And I am so into it now because I felt so good. Afterwards, I said, you know, this could really help a lot of people. And I am, of course, into acupuncture, acupressure, the nutrition part of it. For me, those components really help a lot more than just medication.
Yes.
So if you want me to, I can talk to her. I don't know when she will be available because I know that this was a very intense retreat, and I'm sure she is still probably recovering from, you know, all the hours that she put into it.
Yeah.
But I know that 2 really good resources that I hope, you know, volunteer their time for this meeting would be Dr. Cody, Nancy Fish, and also Dr. Eckenberg. I don't know if you've heard of him. here in
I've
Pennsylvania.
heard Atara Schimmel speak about the last one you mentioned. If you could just send me a Facebook chat with their names,
Mhm.
that would be awesome. And I would love to have any of them on here, or even, if this time doesn't work for them, we could do just a recorded show and play it during this time too. That would work
That,
too.
that would be fantastic because I know that Dr. Cody is on the same page as you are.
Good.
And so I think she would be an excellent resource.
Awesome.
And also, I would love for you to help us too with the PNA.
Hmm.
So if you're willing, then,
Yeah, I will do. I'm going to be doing a lot more after I get this cryoablation. I'm telling you,
uh,
I'm going to get my
well,
life back.
I'm begging. You know how to trust your intuition. So you'll know if it's the right thing for you
Hmm.
once you walk in there. And if it doesn't feel right, please walk away.
Oh, I will. I learned a long time ago the hard way to listen to
Yeah,
God. Listen to that small, still voice, because that's
yeah,
what keeps you straight.
yeah. For me, that's the only one that I listen to.
Yeah, me too.
And yeah, and because I did accompany a patient to an appointment in Boston with a couple of interventional radiologists,
Hmm.
and they were talking about the cryoablation. And of course, they will be consulting with Dr. Perlogo because he is the one to
Hmm.
consult with. But in all honesty, if it was my body with these two particular doctors, I would just walk away. Um,
Yeah, that's why I'm going to Atlanta.
yeah, yeah, no, yeah, and I think that if you're going to do it, that's the way to do it.
Hmm.
But even then, please, please, please listen to your inner voice.
Yes, I will.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm preaching to the choir.
That's
Uh,
okay. That's okay, because this is recorded and people will be watching it, and you never know, something you say. There's so many things that I know about and I take for granted, that, like, I just think everybody knows all this stuff, and they really don't. And it's amazing some of the things that we think are so insignificant that can be truly life changing for somebody else. So thank you so much for joining me. It was going to be a long, lonely time, so I was just talking to myself.
no, no, no. I'm so glad that you are doing this. And I love your background too.
Oh,
That's
thank you, my
yeah,
turtles.
yeah, yeah. And I love you for doing this. This is just absolutely wonderful. I
Thank you
hope
so
that a lot more people join. And hopefully, I'll see you next time.
much. Okay, honey, thank you so much.
Take care.
Have a
Bye bye.
great day.
You too. Thanks.